Now, very important thing that I would like to speak about is maybe, innovation. There's so much speaking about innovation. And my perception is that, there is no copy-paste model. There is no model that, one can duplicate in another country. There is a lot of culture differences, and there is a lot of factors that may change, that I don't think that there is a formula to innovation. I don't think that there is special genes for innovations, but I'm sure about one thing, that innovation do not start in research institute. I think innovation do not start in MIT or in Technion or in KAIST, for example. Innovation start in early age. Innovation start in primary school. Innovation start in secondary school. This is where you start to shape the person to become innovative in a way. So when speaking about innovation, I surely believe that it should start a little bit earlier, in earlier stage, to try to give that students, the feel that they can come over to the solution by themselves. There is a lot of talk about giving students today 21st century learning skills and so on and so forth, trying to take a shift from the old way of the learning system of dictating and memorizing and coming to the exams, and the most important thing is the result of the exam, but the other way around, to give the pupil the tools to reach to complex solutions by themselves. And this is something that we need to do. This is maybe just one point about innovation, because I know that you're very much involved with that, and this is like something that everybody's speaking about. But I think that maybe the most exciting ways is maybe I will accept your request to give some tips to entrepreneurs. By the way, this is not only for Korean entrepreneurs. This is global. This is like a global recommendation when you are an entrepreneur everywhere else in the world. I can tell you that when we look at companies, and we have at least 50 knocking on the email door, so to speak, in the fund from different startup companies that asking for investment, asking for us to look at them. And I can tell you that there is so many things that people speaking about VCs and about angel investors and what we are looking for. And I can tell you that, of course, everybody will say the nice things. We're looking at the people behind the company. We're looking at the company management. We're looking at the entrepreneurs. We're looking at the chief scientist of the company. That everything is nice and true. But at the end of the day, VCs are there to make money. VCs are there to lead a startup company for an exit in a very stipulated time. We need to return money back to our LPs, and this is the main goal. So the main goal when I'm coming to see a company, when I'm coming to see a startup, we are looking for a clear exit strategy. We would like to see. We don't say, okay, we want to see an exit in 1 year, because it's not feasible. Of course, if it's a medical devices company, then the time frame is a little bit more. Well, it's not a little bit, it's longer by definition, because in medical device company or buying company, there is a clinical trial, there is the FDA or CE mark, or the equivalent in Korea or in Asia. So it's taking a long time. But let's say if we're speaking about an ordinary, technology company, we would like to see that there is a very clear exit strategy of anything between 4 to 5 years. If I see that, we are confident. We're looking at as a serious company. Another very important issue that young entrepreneurs do not give to that too much attention. It could be also culture-wise, culture reasons, or budget reasons, so on and so forth. We would like to come and see that you have a due diligence pack. I mean, when I say due diligence, meaning that you have a due diligence pack with the global standards. You have your company issues are organized and formulated according to an international, standards and models. You have to see that the company is registered well, your IP is registered well, your financial is according to global standards and so on and so forth. It makes easier to make an investment. It makes it easier for us to come and make a look at the company. So we will be very impressed if we will see that the company has a good law firm that supports us from day one, and all the structure of the company is well and organized according to international standards. We like to see that quite a lot. We would also like to see a lean and mean structure, meaning that you have a target orient, that you are very focused to use human and financial resources for the company goals. I don't want to see suddenly in the middle of the year, we don't like to see that you use the money for different purposes. We would like to see that everything is well and organized from day one. You have clear strategy, you have clear plans of what you do. Also, funding model. Funding model is very important. You come to us now and you would like to raise $2 million. You have to show me that for the next 24, that the money that you raise from us will be sufficient for you for 24 months, and you will concentrate on developing your product, finishing your product, continue with your company's goals and strategic objectives, and you're not going to find yourself after 12 months starting to raise money again, because it's going to take away your attention from the company and so on and so forth. Most importantly, I think maybe it's technology, and I'm saying to myself that if your technology do not change something, whether it's service or whether it's a new product, if it doesn't make any change, or if there is no need for that, do not start with the company. Simply do not start with the company. Also, very important thing is that you have to make a successful transit from an entrepreneur to CEO. Normally, most of the entrepreneurs are in love with what they are doing. They cannot admit that they are not a good CEOs. So you have to make the successful transit from an entrepreneur to CEO. If you cannot do it, put the ego aside, bring a professional CEO to take over, and continue with what you're doing best. Maybe my final tip to you is, normally in almost every presentation that we hear, the entrepreneur will say, this is our conservative estimation. Do not use the word conservative. We do not believe in that. We are going to make our own check. Do not use the word conservative. We do not believe in that. And on the other hand, I think even more important, we don't want to invest in a conservative entrepreneur. We would like to invest in an entrepreneur that is living the dream. We want you to live the dream. We want you to do the home run, and we want to do the home run with you.
So, Ami, I wanted to ask you some questions about the MEC fund and overall. So, is there a reason why that you named it MEC fund, like MEC?
Actually, MEC stands for the three partners that we have: M Ventures, Agate, and C Partners. There is no relation to any MEC, to any other MECs that you know.
So, Ami, you're taking part in as an entrepreneur, as a venture capital, and as a lawyer. So how can you all manage those things? So could you give us a tip about that?
Well, actually, first of all, thank you very much. It literally means that I don't sleep much at night, but and there is so many tips that I can give you. But I believe that maybe the most natural tip that I can give you is illustrated by maybe a story that is maybe escorting me most of my adult life. You know, in every morning in the savannah of Africa, a gazelle wakes up and it knows that in order to survive, it must outrun the fastest lion. And every morning in the savannah of Africa, the lion wakes up and he knows that in order to survive, it has to run faster than the slowest gazelle. But my point is that when the morning comes, you have to wake up and run. So maybe the basic, most natural tip that I can give you is run. Dream the dream, go fast, and try to achieve your goals.
Also, can you tell us about your vision, the future?
my vision. Well, you asked for my vision, and I can tell you, Eva, that my vision is to try and act as a bridge between Israel and Korea in a number of fields. Maybe the most important field that I see now is bringing the innovation from Israel on one hand to the commercialization and realization capabilities of Korean companies, and together build a joint venture that together can go over and go worldwide.
Mm-hmm. So this might be the last question, but there would have been also failure and hard times in your life, and could you share a little bit of story?
Yes, of course. You know, in every success story that I have, even if it's looked from the outside, that I'm sharing only success, but it's absolutely not true. I share many failures in my life. Not every company that we invested were successful, and also on personal life. But the end of the day is never to break up. You know, failure is not a shame. I mean, every serial entrepreneur that made a very successful, you know, exit in his life, I'm sure that he had triple, if not more, the failure in his own life. So I believe that failure is just is just an obstacle, but you cannot stop you.
Mm-hmm. So maybe the last thing, what is Korea to you? What is innovation to you?
Well, obviously Korea for me is a role model, because you know, in Israel, in spite of the fact that we did a tremendous achievement in the startup, in the high-tech industry, at the end of the day we would like to learn from you how to establish a real industry, a real business here. You know, we do not have a Samsung, and we do not have an LG, we do not have the big conglomerates that you have in Korea, and we in a desperate need to learn from our Korean counterparts how to establish and how to establish and maintain real companies that support the Israeli economy, and this is what we would like to do. When it comes to innovation, my idea is very clear. I do believe that innovation, it's not something that you can acquire in a very late age. I don't believe that innovation is a matter of genes or all sorts of things that I hear lately. But I believe that the innovation starts in a very early stage, even in primary school, when we can see today that people are speaking about a different learning approach, less memorizing and dictating and you know, coming to exams or scoring at the exam the highest score, but more giving the pupils of today the tools, the real tools, to solve problems, to solve complex problems. And this is, I think, that what we need to emphasize. This will lead to innovation. You know, the Korean government and the Korean private sector targeted startup and high-tech industry as your new growth engine. And looking at Korea for more than a decade now, I can surely say that I have no doubt in my mind that Korea will become a startup nation soon. There is no any industry that you pointed out as a target that you didn't accomplish. I have no doubt in my mind that Korea will become a startup nation very soon.
Wow, thank you so much.
My pleasure, Eva. Thank you. Thank you so much.
So thank you so much. Thank you for watching. 감사합니다.
감사합니다, ISUP. Just to wake up in the morning and run.
Just like lion and gazelle.